Hello, I'm Karina Morocco with EBD Group, and today I'm joined by Derek Ansel. He is the Senior Director, Therapeutic Strategy Lead of Rare Disease at Worldwide Clinical Trials. Thank you for joining me today, Derek.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So, can you tell us why does Worldwide focus on rare disease?
Of course, as we know with the rare disease and rare disease community, there's a large unmet need for this community. There's not a lot of approved therapies. And until recent years, it's largely been forgotten by drug developers. Once you start looking at a clinical trial, they're very challenging. They have extremely difficult endpoints, complex routes of administration, and even finding these rare patients, as the name suggests, is challenging. So Worldwide focuses on this space because we truly do understand the nuances to these challenging studies. We understand the power that can be brought to giving patients with unmet need well-deserved and meaningful treatments.
And can you tell us a little bit more about your rare disease team?
Sure. So here at Worldwide, we're focused on four therapeutic areas or franchises. They are cardiometabolic, oncology, CNS or central nervous system, and general medicine. And in each of those four pillars, we have a dedicated rare disease team that's really bolstered their experience in their assigned therapeutic area, but they also understand the complexities that I mentioned earlier about running a rare disease clinical trial. So we're not putting an experienced individual in oncology on a neurological disorder, for example. These individuals are building their careers here in Worldwide in their therapeutic area and in their rare disease areas of interest.
And so there's a lot of talk about patient-centric across this industry. How is Worldwide Clinical Trials addressing that?
For sure. I think patient centricity has taken a new spin in the industry. I think now the new term is decentralized clinical trials. That's really been the new term for patient centricity that I've been seeing. And it's interesting because in the rare disease space, we've been focused on decentralized trials and patient centricity before these terms were very popular. For example, we recently completed a clinical trial where we were bringing patients all over the US to a single center in San Antonio, Texas. And the patient population we were targeting had issues with being ambulatory or being able to walk without using a variety of tools or resources to assist them in walking. So we had to deploy a rather unique and innovative model to find these patients, ensure that they were able to walk appropriately to even get on a plane, send us a couple medical records for their review and confirmation before even having a nurse visit their home, all before they come to San Antonio for the clinical trial in this example. We're seeing quite a bit of a crawl, walk, run approach when it comes to patient centricity and decentralized trials, but that's just one example of how Worldwide is addressing this.
Sounds really great. So what do you see on the horizon for personalized medicine?
Great question. I'm always focused here at Worldwide on innovative ways to find patients quicker, because the quicker we can enroll our clinical trials, the quicker there's an approved drug on market that everyone has access to. Genetics and genomics is an area I find to be a large importance, but there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to genetics. I myself am a genetic counseling student in my first year, so it's an area that I'm learning a little bit more about as it affects our patients when they enroll in trials. Not everyone understands what a positive or negative genetic results mean. When we think of cholesterol, right, there's a little gray area. You either have high cholesterol or low cholesterol. When it comes to a genetic test result, there's a lot of a gray area and ambiguity to that. So we need to ensure that patients are well educated about what that means and how we can implement that into enrolling clinical trials.
And so what areas within the clinical research for rare disease needs better development?
Yeah, it ties in nicely to what I just mentioned about patient education. That is my soapbox. I feel when I'm at conferences speaking about rare disease is the importance and power of proper and adequate patient education. Even with COVID, we're seeing such discrepant information and misinformation around what a vaccine is. And it has impacts, enrollment in some trials, right? When there was discussions about the vaccine integrating into the genome or integrating into my DNA. And that's just not true. It's just, it's partial, right? If you kind of Google what DNA and RNA is, but it's not right. And we've seen quite an impact on that, of how misinformation due to COVID can impact enrollment even on rare genetic disorder clinical trials. So I always find that patient education, we can never, do too much when it comes to educating these patients. When we are implementing decentralized trial solutions, it's more important to properly ensure that education is completed at an appropriate time. Certainly, in the example that I gave, we don't want patients flying anywhere to enroll in a clinical trial without truly understanding what it is they're participating in. So I always find patient education to be priority number one for us here at Worldwide.
Great. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Karina.